lowering your cortisol levels is the new wellness trend, which is taking over the internet.
Mine are really high. They've skyrocketed. Actually, I've learned from the tapping as well, so I've got high cortisol.
Just relax. There are now hundreds of thousands of videos talking about the topic, and the hashtag cortisol talk has more than 800 million views.
Rolls off the tongue, cortisol talk, doesn't it? But while the stress hormone can wreak havoc with your health goals, how do you know if you really have high levels, and how can you combat symptoms through nutrition?
Well, to tell us more, Weekend Sunrise nutritionist Sarah Di Lorenzo. Morning, Sarah.
Good morning, guys.
OK, so what is cortisol?
OK, so cortisol is a hormone that's produced in our adrenal glands, that are these cute little triangular glands that sit on the back, on the top of our kidneys. Now, there is such a misconception about cortisol because it is so important for our health. We need it for regulating our blood pressure, blood glucose, managing inflammation, immunity, plus it plays a really big role in our stress response. But, and it's also what wakes us up in the morning. But the thing is, when cortisol is elevated, it becomes dangerous to our health. So our body is constantly trying to keep homeostasis, but elevated, it is dangerous, yes.
OK.
So, Sarah, if people are kind of worried about getting health advice from TikTok, what are some of the symptoms and what should we do if we're concerned? OK,
so definitely do not get advice from TikTok. My kids do this. They're like, I said, where's your reference from? On TikTok. And I'm like, no, seriously. First of all, you can go to the GP and get tested through spit, saliva and blood. But alternatively, and I think this is my thoughts on why it's gone TikTok crazy, is because some of the symptoms are weight gain on back, belly and face. So I think people are blaming cortisol for their weight gain. And the thing is, other things like bruising easily, it can be like muscle weakness in like thighs and arms, it can be irritable, moody, thin skin, acne, fatigue, and also big purple kind of stretch marks as well on the belly is another one. So all of the symptoms aren't great of elevated cortisol, but you can't blame cortisol. Because
I'm going to blame cortisol.
I'm going to start a cortisol campaign. It seems like it's got a lot to answer for.
I just feel like it's a little...
the government against cortisol.
Poor cortisol, but I'm trying to support
You've
cortisol.
You've called them cute glands.
They are little
They're
triangles.
Not cute at all. They're nasty,
we're really cranky with them. OK, so researchers show that certain foods can help cortisol.
Yeah,
OK,
definitely.
that's if we're embracing
it's
cortisol.
Not donuts.
Well, no, we'll get to those.
There's chocolate
There's dark chocolate, so magnesium-rich foods, dark chocolate, leafy greens, avocado, anti-inflammatory foods, just really important, like olive oil, salmon's a good one, chia, flax, walnuts, your favourite nut, Matt. All the beautiful, all the fruits and vegetables for their antioxidant support. Fibre is really important too, so your whole grains as well as beans. But taking care of your gut is really important when managing cortisol because of the gut-brain axis and how good gut is linked to having good mental health. So very important, finding a place in these diet. Oh, and sorry, I have to add, water. Dehydration elevates cortisol. So yeah, that's a simple one. Just go and have a glass of water.
That middle bit, that's all bad, I'm assuming.
Bad bit.
Okay, so we know that when people have things like cola, like carbonated, like the caffeinated drinks, I'm surprised you're not trying to pick off this section, Matt.
My body's a temple, as you know.
He really respects his
Health's
cortisol.
a lifestyle for me.
Well, anyway, these kind of foods, obviously the junk food, fried food, fatty foods, sugary foods, they increase ghrelin, our hunger hormone, but they also will increase our baseline cortisol levels. So even though if you ate these as a one-off, you'd be okay, if you eat this kind of food all the time, the baseline cortisol is just going to elevate. So you want to avoid all of these things, especially caffeinated beverages. And so, but what I did here was I thought, I'm going to bring in some key stars from my produce spread there, and I just made this really fabulous salad here with just things like fish, yogurt for gut health, you've got the broccoli, and then as well just things like some sweet potato and some of the greens and avocado to make this gorgeous salmon bowl, which is completely delicious. But at the end of the day, it is just that sort of healthy diet, and also just looking out for things like managing stress, getting good quality sleep, making sure you're doing moderate exercise, and just things like that, just to make sure you're managing cortisol.
When you mentioned carbonated drinks, you mean like the soft drinks are bad. What mineral water is that?
Mineral water, sorry, caffeinated. Thank you for picking that up, Mike. Caffeinated drinks.
Yeah, right.
Yes, caffeinated. Caffeinated, carbonated, like colas and stuff. Yes, but definitely, sorry, it's the caffeine will elevate baseline cortisol too much. And if you're a coffee drinker, my guideline would be if you're probably having more than 4 coffees a day, you'd probably increase that baseline cortisol level.
Yeah. So if I had that health salad, I could have a generous generous block of
No, but
dark
you're
chocolate.
allowed-
Dark
and all's
chocolate.
fine.
It's dark.
But
She
that's
said that
magnesium.
fine.
Yeah, that's
You're
what I'm
allowed
saying.
that
So, like-
anyway.
You can have that anyway.
So tell me
Enjoy
what
it.
happens with your cortisol?
Yeah.
It does lower.
I'm feeling it
And you
right
know what else about the chocolate?
It also helps with my ghrelin,
You get ghrelin. What is ghrelin, Matt?
a hunger hormone. You beauty! Nailed it! On one rare occasion, I knew what I was talking about. What?
I think I taught you that.
Over-celebration.
Fine.
That is an
But
over-celebration.
also, dark chocolate will give you a hit of dopamine too, which helps lower the stress and lower cortisol.
That's delicious.
You're so proud of yourself right now for getting
I'm proud
that.
of you too.
Want to see
I'm
what
proud
smug
of
looks
you.
like? This is what smug
Hang on,
looks
just,
like.
can we actually get a closer shot of him?
Of him chewing? Is there any
No,
chocolate
no,
in
no,
his-
just looking smug. Just look smug.
Which camera am I at?
Yeah, that one. Just look smug.
Nailed it. Nailed it. Nailed it.
I do smug well.
He does. You can
You
find the
do,
full
you
recipe
do.
over on the Sunrise website. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you for
Sarah,
having
as
me.
always.
You're so good, Sarah. That was encyclopedic.
Oh, wow,
But you
wasn't it?
couldn't know any more about cortisol like that. What more would you want to know?
She's
Nothing.
the best.
You're the best.
Thank
She
you,
brings us
guys.
chocolate
Thank
and
you.
says we can have it.